It's such a nice day and the rain is coming. We're gonna have days and days of rain. So I thought I'd take a quick wander around the garden and just enjoy all the beautiful apple blossom because it is so apple blossom season and the apple trees are looking better than ever. I haven't given them a winter prune all this year. I left them alone because I really pruned them so harshly last year and then we barely had any apples. I just thought I'd give it a rest and I kind of ran out of time, but just look at them, they're completely full. This one is the red devil apple. It's got these big bright red apples and it was a bit damaged when the builders were here. They've just left, so it's the first day without the builders. It's a really exciting day. But yeah, it's looking really good. I'll take you down to the other apple trees because we have 7. The second one is right around down here. It goes over this arbor here. And it was here when we moved in and we sort of planted it over this arbor, sort of made it grow over this. And it produces really big, tasty apples, but I don't actually know what the cultivar is. But it's fun to have them sort of hanging down as you walk through this gateway. And then the third apple tree is just over here. When you have a small garden, everything's quite close together. So here is a really amazing one. It is a Cox's Orange Pippin. It's a classic British apple and it's known for having a really aromatic flavour and a bit of sharpness to it. We had the first apple last year after it had been here for about 5 years, and I think it was a bit unlucky with some years it had like a late frost that just killed all the flower buds, but it's looking really lovely. Really big apple blossom on this one actually. I think I might have to prune or thin out the apples later as they develop, but that's a nice job to have. It's better than not having enough apples. But yeah, it's just completely full right now. I think we're gonna have a really beautiful bumper apple year. And the fact that they're all flowering at the same time means they can all cross-pollinate, which is always such a big blessing. And so I got another apple tree just a bit further on. This one here is our very largest apple tree, and it also produces very huge apples, but they are cookers. So really tart, and I use them for apple cider vinegar and that sort of thing. And then along here we have another apple tree, which was also here when we moved in. But it was really small and it had a bunch of tiny apples on it. And so I've been pruning it every year and this is the best it's ever looked. And here's our 6th apple tree. It is a Golden Delicious, a dwarf Golden Delicious. It produced a bumper crop the year before last, and then last year I don't think we got more than a handful of apples. So sometimes if they have a really heavy bearing year, then they become sort of biennial. So this year we're gonna have lots. Yay! And here's our 7th and final apple tree. It's actually supposed to be a dwarf Granny Smith, but then we found out that it was actually a Golden Delicious. But it can still live here happily in a pot. It's in the courtyard. a very empty courtyard because we had to empty it all out when the builders were here. They have just left, as I mentioned, so I'm going to be putting everything back into this courtyard again. But this little guy stayed here the whole time, and as you can see, he is the only apple tree in the whole garden which is not flowering. But he's very young. I only got him the Christmas before last, and then he had one apple last year. So sometimes they just take a little while to get into their stride and start fruiting properly. And it's actually quite handy to have a bunch of apple trees, because sometimes when they fruit really, really heavily, like it seems all the apple trees want to do this year, then they become biennial. And so that could mean that next year we'll have no apples, but because this guy's not fruiting this year, there's a good chance that he might do so next year. So we could have a few fruit then after all. So really exciting either way, and thank you so much for watching if you stayed with me this long. I will see you next time. Bye for now.